Well, hello friends, and welcome to another video. We've had a loom upgrade, as you can see. This was a gift from my friend Q, who I generally exchange fairly overwrought gifts with. We're both autistic and have hyperfocus, so it's very easy to purchase gifts for one another. And we do. So thank you, Q. And this is my early Christmas present that we'll be weaving on until Christmas, I hope. But it is called the Easy Weaver. And it is technically, finally, actually, and correctly vocabulary using a rigid Heddle Loom. We finally have one to test. This is a very upgraded version. This is about $150. I'm sure you could get it on sale, but it's about $150. So let us explore this mystical Uber Child's loom, as opposed to a $40 one. Let's take a look. Okay, so here's our very exciting new loom. It's by Friendly Loom by Harrisville Designs. I don't know if anybody else knows what that is, but it's Parents' Choice recommended. So this is made for children. I am not a child. This review is not for children. It's for grown-ups who have a childlike joy in learning. We are not childish, we are childlike. Different thing. Vocab is important, so are semantics. All right, let's look at the back of said loom. It says, weaving provides the visual and tactile pleasure of working with fibers, such as wool. True. It is a simple process that teaches measuring, counting, color patterning, understanding spatial relationships, and fine and gross motor control. Agree. The Easy Weaver, that's for adults and children. Your brain is still plastic. Learn new things. The Easy Weaver is meant for tabletop weaving and allows you to easily make a shed, which is the lifted part where you shove the thread through, the space which the shuttle passes, by a simple adjustment of the heddle. Loom is specifically designed for children and beginner weavers. With its pre-warped design, you'll learn to weave without the challenge of setting up the loom. Once a project is completed, you can go on to learning how to prepare the loom for future projects. Visit us at thefriendlyloom.com. It's also made in the USA, which is nice, because I know I didn't have something shipped all over the earth, just halfway across it. Weaving is a quiet and relaxing activity that encourages concentration and gives a sense of accomplishment. Also agree, my students in their classroom would have slayed for a loom. Looms such as this did not exist at that time for children. This is made in New Hampshire by weavers, spinners, and woodworkers for you and the child in your life. I am the child in my life. Thank you very much. About Harrisville Designs, the woolen yarn has been spun in the mills of Harrisville for 200 years. Was New Hampshire a slave state? I don't think it was. We're going to look right on past that. They definitely had indentured servitude. Anyway, the Harrisville Designs is a family-owned... Sorry, Harrisville. I'm not trying to accuse you of anything. Harrisville Designs is a family-owned company proud to carry on their textile tradition. In the manufacture of fine woolen yarns. I'm actually going to research that for after we've done some weaving on this, because I kind of want to know their actual history and if there is a dark side to Harrisville yarns. We need to know. Award-winning Friendly Loom products for children and beginners. Why wool? A great question for kids to ask, and something that I teach people. Oh my gosh, I could take this with me to shearing day and show people a loom. That would be fun. Oh my god, kids would mess it up so bad. We'll think about it. Wool is a natural fiber. It comes from animals such as sheep, goats, llamas, and alpacas. Those are actually hair. Those are not wool. Only sheep make wool. The spinning lady got very cranky at me at shearing day and informed me of that information. So unless you want to go fight with her, I'm not going to. Most of Harrisville Designs wool comes from merino sheep. Very easy to spin, and you can make it into superwash. Wool is warm, soft, and naturally safe to touch and wear, unless you're allergic, but sure. It is fire resistant and will not melt when burned like most synthetic fibers. That is also true, but cotton is also more fire resistant than synthetic fibers, and so is leather. So I had to wear leather pants when I went and rescued horses from a wildfire. They wouldn't let us up without leather on. Anyway, that's a weird story for another day. Wool does resist dirt, retains its appearance, stays cleaner, and lasts longer than synthetic fibers, and wool is a renewable resource. True. But also there's that side of it that we bred wool animals, and if we don't shear them, they will die. So they're kind of beholden to us to produce wool. They don't really have like a say in it. Unlike the mountain goats that like the Kwakiutl people of the Pacific Northwest go, they go and collect the fur when they shed it yearly, and then they weave with that. So just saying, sheep are technically beholden to us to make the wool. They cannot survive without us. Just throwing that out there and ruining a child's product. All right, well, let's open her up here. And, oh, I have it upside down, of course. It is very nice that they give you your own already warped, okay? We have some, oh, is that wool? That's very rough. It's very sturdy wool. That's sturdy. Okay, that is some sturdy wool. Here we go. Pull. No, that didn't work. We're in there. E. 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 Okay. Box is empty. Got it. Check. We have, oh gosh, that's scary. What is that? Why are you taped to that? What is happening here? Get off of there. We've got something, we've got to extricate. Okay, and then we have balls all over the place. Oh, good God. Okay, the Heddle, okay, we're definitely going to have to tighten this. Very scared of that. Cut bands before using. A concerningly old rubber band affixed to the, oh my God. What would I have this on? Oh, it's on this, another ball. Okay, we have some shuttles here. Concerningly loose. How does one keep it tight? Oh, there is a, oh, I see. Okay, so that's what the rubber, okay, so the rubber band is holding the ratcheting function in place down here. So we will have to remove that. Here's our, oh God. It is a beautiful heavy plywood. Like, it's not going to flex. I've already flexed the other children's loom. Discover needle. Okay, this is just an ad. Not helpful. Get rid of that. Here is this. What? Did I get like a used one? Did someone buy this and return it? What happened? Okay. Easy Weaver instructions. Book of project ideas. Don't need ideas. I'm full of ideas. Let's see what we've got here. Easy Weaver, a break, which is called a pawl, apparently. Congratulations. Cloth beam. Pull the heddle up. Do you use it as the beater, I wonder? And it looks like the, yeah, pull the heddle up and rest it on top of the shed maker. Oh, you have to stack it up there. I see. Okay. It doesn't bother me that much. And you could use this as a beater once we've removed these. All right, well, that's fine. Warming up. Yeah, when your shuttle runs out, put some more on. Split it up into 2 scarves. We did that on one. We were so clever. We did that all on our own. We figured that out. Release more warp yarn. Yep, all of this is very good. This is the best instruction booklet so far we've gotten out of any of these. I will tell you that. All right, washing your weaving. Your weaving will look and feel much nicer if you wash it. Yeah, it probably would, but I'm not going to do that. And then this is how to rewarp it. Marvelous. And also it seems that they are doing this with single strands of yarn again. So this is still not being warped like a true, I guess, loom. But that doesn't matter. We're still going to learn with it. It smells like wonderful plywood. And we're going to cut these off and try to tighten up whatever's going on here. And I'll try to speed through that because I've been talking for quite some time. All right, BRB. Okay, this is actually fairly brilliant, and I'm very impressed with this product. This is super clever. Let me show you why I think that. You could theoretically, because this has no, like, you're only dictated by the size of the comb here. So if you wanted to like 3D print yourself a comb with more holes in it so that you can fit more warps, because these are not super tight, so, but you also have to move this quite a bit. But when I show you from the side here, you can see that there is a groove down in here, and on the bottom of the heddle here, there's a peg that you can see, and it gets about 1.5 inches, it's almost 2 inches of play, and you can see that it, let me try and show you here, it slots into there. And that holds your shed open. And then when you want to switch your shed, you put it on top of this. So you can't get it too tight, or else you can't make that big motion. So what I think we will have to do is, when I used it as a beater, it didn't do a particularly good job. So I think we'll still need to use our comb if infrequently, and make sure that we've pushed it in. I don't love how not tight these are. How tight can I get it and still be able to shed with it? Oh, it's still doing it at that tightness. All right. Okay. I think this is amazing. It's super tough. It feels, I mean, it's a laminated plywood, so you're not going to be flexing it. Let me show you the difference. This is what laminated plywood looks like. That means that many layers of wood, like chipped up wood, have been glued together, and they've also been glued together crossways to each other in each layer, so that it has a lot of tensile strength. It has very little ability to flex. So that is the purpose of laminated plywood, if that's of any help to you. This is just very simple, probably birch. Let me show you the other one, which I'm pretty sure is just pine, because it's so soft. Here's our other children's loom, which you can see is very soft pine. I could probably dent this with a fingernail. I could certainly dent it with this. Yeah, look, I can mark that all up with the lightest of touches from a metal tool. I'm not sure if that's even visible to you. But if you look, the wood is very, very soft. You can mark it up very easily on Orlando Loom. And Orlando Loom is already becoming very flexible in this sense, because it is assembled with basically brads and small screws. So these will get looser and looser over time, and there's no way for me to tighten those. I can tighten the screws, but I can't tighten any of the pieces that could help me add tension if I needed to. Also, it's a very soft wood, so it just won't last as long. This one will last generations and would probably survive like a Montessori classroom. It is made to last. There is no way I could stand on either side of this and it would be fine. The rollers are all wood. These are wood. And the most important part, which is the frame for strength, is all laminated plywood. It also has grippy feet. It has big screws. Everything is accessible to you to tighten and fix and keep going with. So if you were looking for something that's really, really well made, perfectly honest, this is absolutely worth the money. Just in the frame, truly. It's not fun to cut this. It's not fun to work with this. It's not cheap to buy right now, especially. All right, but I think that we should loom something with it. I'm going to go find a better card. I might pull out this red because I have this beautiful Lithuanian wool that I think would be fun to use on this piece. And we don't have to use the Harrisville yarn, and I will research that history. We will see if Harrisville has something to hide. If they do, I will find it. Don't think I won't. All right, let's weave something. Okay, so it is here that I think we are running into a touch of my lack of personal experience working with wool and looms, because here's my query. This is very grippy yarn. This is very rough. It's very grabby. Previously, I was using the cotton twine, and it didn't have a lot of grip. This is like pulling on grip tape. It's rough. It's rough to use the beater on it. It's not great. So what I tried to do in the beginning, you may have seen, which went terribly, as you also probably have seen, is that I tried to use the little like beater combs here and shove them closer together. Then I realized that in most of the rigid Heddle Loom projects I have seen online, you can usually see the warps, and that's also kind of a part of the design. So I'm beginning to think that maybe I should not be crushing all of my wefts into one, but I also don't know that they should be this far apart. Maybe they are. Maybe it's because I switched to a thinner yarn. That could be on me too. Don't know. But what I'm wondering is why when I beat it, I mean, I cannot really get it to push it too much closer than that. And it does it kind of unevenly, like it doesn't just go to the whole end. It easily can be done unevenly. So there is some technique that you have to learn here. I got very comfortable with the motion of it, like the pickup and the put down up onto the little ledge there was very easy. That was really fast for my brain to learn that motion. It was very comfortable, did not cause me any particular hand fatigue, just the standing did. Other than that, because they tell you you're supposed to wash this before using it, what I'm wondering is if they want you to wash it before using it because that will full the fibers, and fulling is what you would do after you made your fabric. It would be very open weave like this when you were weaving with wool on a loom in any ancient time. And specifically what I'm talking about, the word fulling is the English word for it, where you would take your freshly made or freshly woven fabric and you would put it into like a group owned or a monastery owned, where you paid into the monastery fulling machine, which was just a big beater driven by a water wheel, and it beat your fabric so that the fibers would full. They would fluff up and become more full, and they would fill all of the gaps in your fabric. So is that the reason that they're telling me that I need to wash this before I use the item? I don't know. And that's where we're running into my inexperience. It is definitely one that takes a little more effort to work out really even sides. I obviously have not yet, but that's why we have this pre-warped friendly little helper loom here. So what I'm going to do is, because it's getting a little hard to get my shuttle through the shed, we're going to loosen this side and open it up a bit. That's going to fall down, and we'll kind of, I'm working the little gear back here. There we go. You can see that, I think. And that's going to terrifyingly fall down, and we're going to ignore that. Try not to panic. And then we're going to wind it up, and you can hear the little gear ratcheting there. And I pulled this up real tight. I don't like loose weaving. Nope, not tight enough. Somebody's getting tighter. And that's why, kids, you want the, there we go, that's better. And that's why you want that real strong plywood. It's because you're going to be yanking on it. It still doesn't feel tight enough to me. Oh, well, I got another one out of that side. You know, God bless a ratcheting system. Anyway, I also probably could have grabbed it by the handles to do that instead of just manhandling it. Anyway, I'm going to keep going on this. I might switch to their yarn because it is thicker than the one I used. As you can see, it's like more of a full worsted rather than a light worsted. Oh, sorry. Goodness. Punch drunk up there. And we'll see if that improves the look at all. Like perhaps it is best suited to a certain weight of yarn. I don't know. I don't know if the rigid Heddle Loom thing dictates things differently. If I should just be more violent in how I push on it, feel free to let me know in the comments what you think. But we will also, I think, wash this and see what happens and see if there is some sort of fulling element to this. But I think we'll just keep going and see what happens. So I definitely did better on that round as far as evenness. What I think we have learned here, most importantly, is to not use a smaller weft than you're using as a warp, or else it looks weird, which is what was happening down here. This looks more even, and while there is still visible light through it, I feel like it might improve as we wash it. So I think for now, we will just continue on. I think I'm getting kind of a good flow going with this. I'm still learning to pat it down evenly. That is still a work in progress, as you can see. But we're learning, and it's a new friend. We'll have to think of a name for her. We already have Orlando Loom. We'll have to think of a name for her. Anyway, I think we'll just keep on weaving for a bit, and we will use the yarn provided to us that is the same weight as the warps, because it did not seem to like my ad-libbing. All right, let's continue. Okay, I just wanted to take a pause in the weaving. I think I have figured some stuff out. One, this yarn is grippy as ever loving hell. So once it's there, you're not gonna have much luck scooching it. It is like grip tape. Anyway, other thing, I'm using the edge here to note how even I'm doing, and I'm kind of using this entire piece as a large experiment to just kind of get my own tensioning and hand technique right. What I realized was happening when I was beading, because this side kept ending up taller, so I knew something mechanical had to be going on, because I was beading with my right hand. So if you look at how much of my right hand is covering, it's covering nearly the entire portion of one whole side, and this is the portion that was getting too tall. So if you've got one side that's getting taller than the other, you need to beat with your hand in the middle, which hurts my hand. So in my case, I'm beating over here, And then I'm angling it and tapping in those ones specifically, if you can see that acute angle down there, or do it in the middle. But what I will say is the more I actually beat the fiber rather than try to push it, the better it does, because you're like tapping in, basically you're tapping in a wedge into a piece of wood. Like it's going to grip itself. So you're tapping these down the warp. So as you can see, I got a little more even up here as I got a little better. And I think we'll just continue on. I'm not one to waste, and they warped this thing with like miles of this awful. It's not awful. It's just very grippy, and I'm not used to it. Might not be awful at all. It's awful for me, but I have texture issues. Anyway, we will keep on working on this until we have most of this used up, because I don't, what am I going to keep it for? I find it unpleasant to work with. Anyway, we'll just keep going until we have something that we can practice fulling on, and then we'll mash it around and see if we can get it to fluff up. What do you think? I will see you in a bit. Okay, we have finished what I'm going to call our test on this loom. Here's what I will say, that we've learned many important things today. One, you should work square to your table, not at an angle, as I have been working to accommodate the filming, because it gets cronked, as you can see. It's very wonky and crooked, which is what I call cronked. Anyway, or cronky, but not the point. Work straight. Also, I think the toughest part about this is actually the yarn that they warped it in. This is merino wool, according to Harrisville, and I still have not investigated their history. We will revisit that in the second video where I rewarp this thing with something less demonic. This is merino wool. It is very loosely spun. It's 2-ply, which is how many pieces went into it. These are not long strands. These are not first cuts of wool, is what I'm trying to get across here. So when you pull on this, it will just, you know, come apart. What I think is going to happen when we wash this is it's going to felt aggressively, and or it will full like it would if we were weaving real fabric with very thick, thick wool threads. Anyway, what I do think is great about this, the instruction booklet, wonderful. Absolutely great diagrams. It shows you how to make sure you have rows of warp in between so that you can bind it off. Comes with 2.5 yards of warp. You can weave 2 scarves that are 1 1/4 yards long. It comes with 2 loose, 2 tight, just right. It gives you a lot of really good, it shows you how to use the heddle as a beater. I like to learn how to live this on the fly and see what happens. Releasing more warp yarn, taking your finished things off of the loom, weaving with more than one color. So it shows you how to put an inactive or an active color and work it up the side if you're trying to make stripes and you don't want to tie knots and be lazy like I do. How to wash it. Gently squeeze it till it's thoroughly wet. Let it rinse, blah, blah, blah. It should poof up a bit. How to finish your ends, how to hem the edges. Your next project, the basics of weaving. Very, very helpful stuff. This is how to rewarp it. It's what I think is called indirect warping. I do not think that this yarn is good. I don't know that that's true because I don't have as much experience as other people. However, I don't like it. I find it like grip tape, and I found it hard to get my yarn to slide down the row. Now, that should soften up when I wash it, and I realized I may have spoiled myself making my other weavings on the little loom because that yarn was already washed because I had dyed it myself and washed it. So it's already all pretty and fluffy, unlike this, which feels like vaguely like a Brillo pad. I don't know if you put fabric softener with wool, but if you could, this would be a good time to use that. But we're going to put it in and we're going to wash them when we're done. I may make a few more rug mugs, but I just wanted to say that I do think that this is fantastic. I think it's great for the price. It's way stronger than anything you're going to find. And it's significantly cheaper at like $139 than buying yourself an actual rigid Heddle loom that's like from Ashford. Those start around $200. So this is like a good entry level to see if you even like it. It actually gives you a bunch of projects and what you need to do with them. It tells you literally how to warp them to make sure that you get the right colors in so you can make like this weird, strange scarf hats. It's got a lot of great stuff. I think it's a fantastic kit. I don't think it's necessarily for kids. I think this is absolutely, well, you could make a jacket. That would take you quite some time. Anyway, this also comes in a larger size with, I believe, a 14-inch wide weaving width, but I did not start there. I don't think it would be hard to make yourself your own comb either. Anyway, I'm very happy with this. I hope you were happy with watching the test of it, and I hope you will tune into the next video where we rewarp this and then weave with something less horrendous. It might not be horrible. It was horrible for me. I don't like this weird weakling merino. It's so grippy. Look at the short little fibers that make it grab itself. You could needle felt with this. I won't, but you could. All right, well, I will see you in the next one. Bye!